What's up, guys? Travis from Solo Custom Archery. Today we're going to be talking about self-defense pistols. A friend of mine and me have been talking lately, been discussing carry guns and the size of the guns and big versus small and what's enough, what's not enough, and we decided to put it to the test. A couple small, we're going to shoot a 32 ACP, 380 ACP, 9mm, and see what the difference is in performance and penetration. So trying to think of what's the best thing to shoot into to simulate a human chest cavity. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna buy some meat, like a ham, some ribs with the bones in them, wrap those onto the ham, add in some fabric, maybe some leather or something like that, and actually shoot it into this and see how it performs on real tissue. I think that if we can get something 8 to 10 inches thick, we could really have a good idea of what human chest cavity would be like. I think anything that goes through solid meat, put some bones in there. If it's going through that much solid meat, the thickness of a chest of a human being, then it'll definitely be reliable to go through a human chest cavity, because human chest cavity is fluids and lungs and not necessarily all meat. So I think that's a pretty good simulation. So we're going to do that. We're going to see how each one of these performs, and we'll try to come up with a plan to recover the bullet, to see what the bullet actually looks like afterwards, or whether it opens, whether it doesn't, holds together, blows apart, and it'll be interesting. We'll see how it goes. All right, we got the ham, we got the ribs, and we're gonna go with leather this time. All right, first gun we're gonna be testing is Kel-Tec 32 ACP. We're gonna test out the damage done and the penetration of 32 ACP caliber. What we're going to be using is these new Lehigh Defense rounds. If you look, it's a new concept, full metal jacket type, but with that interesting head there. So we're going to see how that performs. Okay, we're shooting 32 into the leather and the ham.
Plus P.
It's about 6 foot distance. Actually caught some bone there, so that's cool. Alright, so that's pretty impressive for 32 ACP. Got a hole big enough to fit my finger through. Got all that damage. We have the exit here, and there's the recovered bullet. Basically, like a full metal jacket, it stays intact. No damage done to the bullet, so that accounts for the deep penetration. But the damage is impressive. All right, next up, 380 ACP. Going 90 grain, gold dot, hollow points.
Ready?
Go ahead. Okay, the bottom one's the 380 entry one. Okay, this is actually the 380 exit hole. Right next to 32, it looks exactly the same. We put this cardboard here to show the 380 went through. And we're shooting into this bag of clothes that's what we've been recovering the bullets out of. When we looked in right behind the cardboard, this bullet was sitting here. And it didn't penetrate this like burlap sack. So went through the ham, went about maybe 8 inches of penetration through leather, rib, and ham, and this is the recovered bullet here. Still pretty well intact. Opened up, did its job, mushroomed out nice. All right, cut. The bottom hole would be a 380. That's 32. Wow, there's a lot of damage there. Look at a hole in a ham. Again, we hit bone fragments, and there's all bone fragments I could feel inside this ham. Look at that. Now the 32 hole hit up here, the 380 hole is about 1.5 inches, 2 inches underneath it. So, impressive wound cavity. All right, we're gonna try out something else with the same 380 ACP, but this time Hornady critical defense ammo. Oh my God. There's where the old holes were at. That's the new hole. It's blew the whole corner of it off. This is a new rib. Exit hole. There's actually no bone fragments in this one, so I think we slipped between rib bones there. But wow, what a blowout there. I mean, that thing is blew all 3 inches out of it. And this time the 380 made it into the bag. So we'll go through and find a recovered bullet. Here's a recovered bullet from the 380 ACP critical defense ammo. This was pretty impressive. This thing made a huge wound, penetrated well, and perfect mushroom in the end.
Ready?
Yep.
Went right through the same hole.
Okay, 32 ACP, Lehigh. Entry wound. Wound channel. This would be the proper one here. These are from earlier shooting.
There's the horn. That one looks like a horn in the middle, doesn't it?
Looking at about a 1 inch diameter hole, 3/4 inch diameter hole. This would be the exit hole here. And made it.
There it is, isn't it? No. There it is.
Yeah. Stop at the edge of the bag.
Same
This time. And there's your recovered bullet. Still intact.
It's interesting. It didn't go as far as you thought.
And we hit rib bone on that one. So went right through the rib bone, rib fragments. In here I could feel. We got 9mm Smith & Wesson Shield with critical defense ammo.
Ready?
Okay, go.
That worked.
All right, 9mm shot meat all the way 10 feet away.
Yeah, them are all right with me in my book. Yeah.
Okay, similar looking entry wound, everything else.
Well, that's what I thought.
There's
about
the
too,
exit,
you know?
rib cage.
You know the ones that
It hit bone solid. I mean, it hit the ham bone. That's what it is. Wrecked this ham bone.
you know? Yeah. How they got that
There's the bullet.
ball they call
It didn't
it?
penetrate, but 4 inches or so.
Ready?
Typical entry wound. And 9mm critical defense. Made quite a hole there, about 2 inch diameter hole. With the exit. Pretty big. Went into our bag of clothes, and we'll dig it out. Okay, now we got a 10mm EAA Witness. We're shooting hand loads out of this one 180 grain XTPs, probably running around 1,300, something like that. I gotta shoot reloads with this one because, well, there's a couple people out there selling decent rounds, but most of the factory rounds for 10mm are garbage.
Zoom in on the ham when we shoot.
Okay, go ahead.
Ready? The aftermath of the 10mm. Blew the ham in half. Made about 4 inches of wound channel. And definitely penetrated in the bag. Let's see if we can recover the bullet.
Yeah, got some recovered bullets here. This is 9mm critical defense. Penetrated the ham into the bag. We found it in the bag. Here's a 10mm, that one that did all the dramatic damage. That's one of the XTP, 180 grain. Mushroomed out perfectly. We found that just inside the bag. Barely made it inside. Okay, this one was an interesting case. This is a 38 special. This is something cast bullets that my dad makes. And this is what he carries in his 38 special snubby. And it's 158 grain, pure lead, wad cutter that he swedges the nose, this hollow cavity, into the nose. So we shot it into the ham. It penetrated through, did some decent damage, and we dug it out of the bag. So good penetration, and there's the result. Nice perfect mushroom. Pretty impressive. All right, well, I thought that was pretty interesting. My take on it, well, I'll tell you, talking to my buddy about it, that's his Kel-Tec 32 ACP, and he says that, you know, he feels a lot more confident now that we did that test to carry that gun because of all, you know, everyone's heard of controversy whether or not it's enough gun and, you know, whether it do the job or not. And I agree with him. I think that, you know, it penetrated through the ham. It did plenty of damage. I do think that, you know, I would feel pretty safe carrying that myself too. The 380 I thought performed great too. The only thing that, I mean, obviously, the higher you go up in caliber, the more benefit you're going to have. You've seen the damage of the 10mm. Way more dramatic than anything else. 9mm is way more dramatic than 380, and 380, you know, performs a little better than 32. But you're always going to have some sort of compromise with how much gun you want to carry. The weight of it is the biggest deal. And, you know, whether or not you'll actually carry it. You've seen the size of my 10mm. I don't carry that gun. It's too heavy. It's always going to be a compromise. It's always going to be some sort of a trade-off. But testing it today, I do feel like I was pretty impressed with the smaller guns and their performance. I do think that they would perform. The only thing that would make me question it is that we did shoot that 9mm and by accident hit the solid ham bone of that ham, and although it was dramatic effects and it made a huge hole, it only penetrated 4 inches, maybe even less. So I'd have to think, like, if it was a 380 hollow point, how far would it have gone in if it hit that ham solid? If it was a 32 hollow point, it might not have penetrated much at all. So, I mean, I do feel like we didn't test 32 hollow points because I do not feel like a 32 hollow point is a wise choice to carry. I think you're better off with the full metal jacket type that we use today in the testing when it comes to 32. With 380, as you can see, the hollow point, I do think it had enough penetration. It had dramatic effect. Talking about the gold dot. The gold dot it made a big wound cavity. It did well. It did penetrate enough too. It went through 8 inches. That's good enough. Now, the 380 critical defense performed even better in my eyes. It had better penetration in as dramatic effects. So that's probably would be a better choice. I was pretty impressed with the critical defense ammo today. Now we threw in that portion of the 10mm, not trying to compare to guns, obviously, but just to show that, hey, you step up in power and there's definitely a dramatic effect. So, you know, anyone out there saying that, you know, the 10mm doesn't do anything special or anything like that, hey, that's nonsense. That gun is incredibly powerful. So that's just the facts. So I think the takeaway from today is that those smaller guns, they are okay. I think that I would feel comfortable carrying a 32. If that's if that's a size gun you're comfortable carrying, and it fits well with your wardrobe or inside or whatever however you're carrying it. I mean, my buddy carries that 32 in his front pocket, so I think it's a good choice. I can't argue with it. Going up to a 380, I mean, you're always going to go up a little bit of weight and a little bit of size factor. You go up to a 9mm, maybe not 9mm Smith & Wesson Shield is still a small gun. If you can comfortably carry that, then yeah, you're going to have some performance benefits. And if it doesn't bother you at all to carry that gun as opposed to a 32 Cal-Tec, then by all means do it. If you can handle the recoil of a 40 caliber Smith & Wesson Shield, hey, that's no bigger than a 9. And of course, you're going to get a little bit more benefit out of a 40 caliber over a 9. But you're also going to have the added recoil, so that's a factor. So I think whatever you feel comfortable with and whatever's comfortable for you to carry the gun you're going to take along rather than leave in your car or leave at home is the important part. Bring the gun you're comfortable with, bring the gun you can handle, bring the gun that you can shoot well without flinching or having any kind of recoil issues, and that's the gun that's best for you.